Folks, we want to talk today about the 2024 Kentucky Woodland Owner Short Course. This is a once a year opportunity for you to get a tremendous amount of information about woodlands. Whether you're a woodland owner, a county extension agent, or a woodland enthusiast or wildlife enthusiast, then the Woodland Owner Short Course is for you. So I want to give you a quick overview of this and encourage you to register. The other thing I'll ask is if you know of woodland owners in Kentucky, please let them know about this. Many of them may not know that this is an opportunity available to them, and the amount of information and the connections and resources they can get from this program will be invaluable. All right, so let's get into it. First, I think it's important to set the groundwork a little bit. Our woodlands are important. They are really important for many different reasons, right? One we often think about is just how much area they take up. Half of Kentucky is considered woodlands or forest land. That's a lot, right? Nearly half the state is covered in woodlands to some extent. They are also really important from a wildlife perspective. We know that many species of wildlife, whether they're game or non-game species, depend on woodlands at one or more points in their life for survival. Woodlands help control our air or our flooding. They can kind of mitigate some of our flooding. They can help clean and purify our air as well as your water. So those are important things that our woodlands provide. They're also really important from an economic standpoint. Our Kentucky forest industry here in the state relies heavily on the woodlands that we have here and those private owners that are growing those trees. And as all that comes together, it creates an economic contribution of over $18 billion in Kentucky on an annual basis. It also in total employs over 50,000 Kentuckians. So it's a big deal. Woodlands are important, right? Woodlands are important for a variety of reasons. And woodlands are mostly owned by individuals, right? These are individuals, they may be families, it may be husbands and wives, it may be cousins, but it's family units for the most part are the main owners of our woodlands here in Kentucky. And unfortunately, our woodlands are often treated as a bank account in times of stress or if we need to kind of get some money quickly. And that's not a good way to kind of go about managing any asset, certainly not with our woodlands, because the timing of when you do that could have very detrimental impacts on what you want from that woodland going forward. It's also important to note that our woodlands are facing many threats. So if we don't do something about some of these threats, our woodlands are not going to be left in a good shape. And I don't think you're going to be happy with what's left behind. And one of the things that we have learned over the years through a lot of work of a lot of foresters and wildlife biologists and other natural resource professionals is that if we can make our woodlands healthier and more productive through active management. So the key is getting the right management for you that works for your woodland. And that's where a lot of our natural resource professionals can really shine and help you. All right. So some of you may have seen this graph before, but this is a graph developed by the U.S. Forest Service. It comes out of the National Woodland Owner Survey, and they survey woodland owners across the United States. So this is the one for Kentucky, and this is just looking at landowners with 10 or more acres. So these are some of the attributes of owners with 10 acres or more here in Kentucky. And you might look at it and you can kind of see how you might compare if you're a woodland owner or if you know of woodland owners. But there are a couple things I wanted to kind of point out to you. One is this management advice. Only 6% of our woodland owners indicated that they had received some type of management advice through some type of program, through some kind of woodland or wildlife management program. 6%, that's not much, right? That means a lot of folks out there are not connected to the resources that can help them be good stewards of the property. The other thing I want to point out is there is very few management plans out there, right? 3%, that is not very many plans at all out there, considering how many there could be. And those plans are really important, getting people set up for managing their woodlands. And I'll talk more about that in a moment, but that's an important kind of step in getting those woodlands cared for. And finally, looking at that cost share program participation, only 2% of eligible people were participating. And what that means is there's a lot of folks that are missing out on both technical and financial assistance to help them be good woodland stewards. And one of the things we try to do with the Woodland Owner Short Course is help these landowners make those connections. So there's some three kind of key goals we have for the Kentucky Woodland Owner Short Course. And the first is to raise the awareness of just how important our woodlands are and as important, how vital a role the actual woodland owners play in that, right? These woodland owners are the ones who get to decide what happens to that property. Is it going to be well managed and cared for, or is it going to be abused or neglected, right? They get to decide, and we need to support them and help them in any way we can because we all benefit from having good, healthy woodlands. And then we want to try to educate woodland owners about how to go about managing their woodlands and all the different programs that are out there and how to kind of get connected and to work with that is an important part of that. But basically educating you on what you can do in your woodlands and how it might work for you and your family on your individual woodland. Basically, we're trying to demystify woodland management through the Woodland Owner Short Course. And then finally, we hope to connect you all, the woodland owners or other woodland and wildlife enthusiasts, to the natural resource professionals that are out there, as well as the organizations and peers that are available to work with you. And that's something that many people are so unaware of. It's just how much support is available to meet with you on your own property, help you devise a plan for your property, and help you care for that land going forward. So we hope to achieve those goals through the Woodland Owner Short Course, and we hope you will join us as we go through 2024. So the way the Woodland Owner Short Course is set up in 2024 is we have 5 evening webinars, and those are occurring on Tuesdays and Thursdays through the middle to end of June. And all of these webinars are going to be recorded. So if you register for the program, we will have recordings available that you can view if you're not able to view them live with us. And we've tried to keep these programs tight to about 1 hour in the evening, and we're going to have them from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern time to make it available for folks maybe in Western Kentucky, so that once they get off work, they can join us as well. But our very first one is going to be on June 11th, and myself and Laurie Thomas are going to be presenting that evening, and I'm going to be going over the kind of the woodland management process. And I want to kind of highlight to you all basically who all the players are when it comes to managing woodlands, kind of the steps that we need to take to ensure that we're not wasting time or money along the way. So we'll go over kind of that process of managing woodlands here in Kentucky. And then we'll have Laurie give us a crash course within the short course on tree identification. With more than 120 native tree species in Kentucky, identifying trees can be challenging. Fortunately, Laurie's got a great approach to making it where you can identify key characteristics, and she teaches you basically that tree identification process. So that's what we'll be doing on June 11th. And again, we're going to do that in a real quick 1 hour format, and we hope that you all will be joining us live. But if you can't be there live, then you can catch the recording of it. Next, we're going to have on June 13th, we're going to have Dr. Ellen Crocker, and she's going to be talking about woodland health. And we have Dr. Crocker on From the Woods Today all the time, talking about forest health and woodland health. And she is certainly a really great speaker for this. She has a great forest health lab here at the UK Department of Forestry and Natural Resources Extension. And she's going to be talking about some of the potential threats and challenges that our woodlands may be facing from a health standpoint, and some of the things that you can do to try to help safeguard your woodlands so that they'll be as healthy as possible. So that's going to be on Thursday, June 13th. And again, these will be recorded in case you can't be there live. And then the following week on June 18th, we're going to have another reoccurring guest on From the Woods Today. We're going to have Dr. Matt Springer. Matt is our wildlife specialist here in the Department of Forestry and Natural Resources Extension, and he does a lot of work on wildlife habitat, wildlife damage efforts, and he'll be talking a little bit about both of those, but basically how you can manage your woodlands in ways that will benefit a variety of species of wildlife. And we know that many woodland owners own their property for wildlife reasons. So don't miss that. If you care about wildlife, then you'll want to make sure to join us then on June 18th. And then following on June 20th, we're going to have Dr. Jacob Muller, who's been on the show many times as well. And Dr. Muller is going to be talking about carbon and climate change and woodlands and how all those kind of interact together. Dr. Muller is leading a very large project at Robinson Forest for the Department of Forestry and Natural Resources on adaptive silviculture for climate change. So not only does he have a lot of background and experience in this, but he's also working heavily in this area right now. He's also got a whole series of carbon related publications that'll be soon coming out. He's been working with some colleagues in Ag Econ here at UK, so he'll be probably talking about those. And he'll also be speaking about some of those programs that are out there right now, some of those carbon offset programs, and give you a chance to kind of ask some questions about those as well. So don't miss that one on June 20th with Dr. Jacob Muller. And then on June 25th, we're going to have Dr. Amanda Gumbert with us and John Schultz. And so Dr. Gumbert is with us here at UK Department of Forestry and Natural Resources Extension. And Mr. Schultz is with the Kentucky Natural Resources Conservation Service. And we've had John on here as well as Amanda numerous times. I'm talking about a variety of things. But for this webinar, we're going to be talking about kind of that intersections of woodlands and water quality. And Dr. Gumbert's going to be sharing some of her expertise on some of the things that we can be doing to ensure that we have both healthy woodlands and riparian areas. So we'll look forward to hearing from her, as well as hearing from John on Kentucky NRCS. And the NRCS office, the Natural Resources Conservation Service office, a federal USDA agency, has branches all across the nation. And the one here in Kentucky does a lot of good for woodland owners here in the state. They have a lot of technical and financial assistance that's available to woodland owners here in Kentucky. So make sure that you join us on June 25th for this presentation by Dr. Gumbert and John Schultz on woodlands, water quality, and NRCS programs to support woodland owners. So that will conclude our 5 evening webinars. Again, each of these webinars is going to be recorded, so if you registered for the program, you will have access to the recordings as well. And then once we get through all of these online sessions, we hope that you are really kind of primed to get out in the woods with us and with some of our many partners for one of 2 field sessions. So we have 2 field sessions that are going to be taking place. The first one's going to be on July 13th. And that's going to be at UK's Robinson Forest. And the next one's going to be on August 10th at Roundstone Native Seed in Hart County. So the Robinson Forest in eastern Kentucky and Breathitt County, and the Roundstone Native Seeds in Hart County, more kind of central, a little west of E-Town. So it's we've got a good selections for you. So you'll register and you'll have access to all 5 live webinars as well as the recordings and your choice of one of these field sessions. You won't go to both of those. You'll pick one that you want to go to. And I would encourage you all, we have limited capacity at the field sessions. So if these are something that's important to you, register now for the Woodland Owner Short Course, because there's a good chance that both those field sessions will fill up by the time they roll around. So if you think that's something you want to participate in, make sure to register as soon as possible for those. And then I wanted to highlight on the left here all of the partners that support the Woodland Owner Short Course. And again, this is a long-term program that's been going on for a long time, and it couldn't happen without the support of all of these partners that you're seeing on the screen. I want to mention a few of them that play prominent roles, as well as roles that you will see at the field sessions. We're going to have with us the Kentucky Division of Forestry, one of our main partners. And when it comes to woodlands and woodland management in Kentucky, they're going to have professional foresters out there with us on those field sessions. And they're going to be leading the groups. We're also going to have representatives from the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources. They have biologists that are available to work with woodland owners, and they're going to be leading groups as well. We're also going to have consulting foresters that are members of the Kentucky Association of Consulting Foresters, and they're going to be talking about kind of how they help woodland owners manage their property. We're going to have representatives from the Natural Resources Conservation Service, NRCS, local representatives there, talking about the programs and how those programs are available in your area, depending on where you're at. And then finally, we'll have the Kentucky Woodland Owners Association, one of our lead sponsors of the Kentucky Woodland Owners Short Course. This is a fabulous organization that works very hard on behalf of woodland owners in Kentucky, and you're going to get to learn a little bit more about what they do at the Woodland Owners Short Course, and I can't thank them enough, as well as all the other partners and sponsors of this program that I didn't have a chance to kind of go over. There are a lot of us that contribute to this program, and a big thanks to each of our partners out there. They work very hard to put these programs on. These field sessions do occur on weekends, on a Saturday, so many of these people are working overtime to be out there with us, so we certainly appreciate them being a big part and supporting the 2024 Kentucky Woodland Owner Short Course. And then finally, I'm going to wrap it up and tell you to register now. We've got a link there, and we can share links elsewhere. And if you follow us on social media, you've probably seen some announcements. But please help us spread the word. If you know of woodland owners in Kentucky or county agents or others that would benefit from learning more about woodlands and wildlife, encourage them to also register for the 2024 Kentucky Woodland Owner Short Course. And we'll hope to see you online and in the field.